Most paracord bracelets are based on buying a plastic buckle, a fastener, and then weaving on a design of your particular preference. Would you ever use this as day-to-day cordage? Probably not. Unraveling it would probably take you a minute or two, but even worse, can you imagine all that daunting task of having to reconstruct this, all just because you wanted to secure some cargo in your trunk? I kind of doubt you're ever going to use this for anything other than an emergency situation. That's exactly the opposite of my design. My paracord bracelet is meant to be quick to dispense, quick to deploy, and quick to remake when you're done. It dispenses in roughly about 5 seconds or so. Has an Ashley stopper knot at the end, which comes undone very quickly and easily. And you can reconstruct it in about a minute. That's what we're going to do in this video. Now we're going to remake the bracelet. I like to use an Ashley stopper knot. Take a loop, fold it down so you have 2 loops. Stick the loop far away from the tail loop into the other one from below. Then stick the tail into that same one that was moving a moment ago. Tighten this side over here first, then this one, and then the tail at the top. I have a dedicated video on how to make the Ashley stopper knot. Hit the link up top here if you want to learn more about how to do that. We now are going to use my wrist as my measurement device to figure out how big the bracelet should be. And what I do is I stick 3 fingers underneath so I know I'm going to have some slack when I put the bracelet on, and that tells me that's the point that we want to fold the bracelet at. So that's the first fold. The bracelet then comes up here. We then fold it back down to the front, to the beginning, and we're about to coil the bracelet. Here's a little rhyme to help remember this structure. Put a knot at the end of an S, see it's an S shape? Put a knot at the end of an S and coil around the rest. Well, I don't know if that really rhymes, but sort of. So now we hold this tightly, and this first one that we wrap around kind of cinches itself. I don't know, do you call this a hitch? But we pull it tight, and that kind of locks it in so it won't fall off when there's pressure exerted against it. But now the balance of these outer coils we're doing loosely. I am not pressing in hard at all. These are very loose. You can either coil it on like this, hanging these straight down, that's my favorite method, or you can also just sort of go like this and wrap it this way if you want to. But the important thing is that these inner runs are straight, parallel, they do not corkscrew, that's bad, and you also do not want this one to pass through the other 2. So here we come to the very end, and I have about a foot left over of cordage. That's good. What we do is we compress the coils down towards the hole, bit by bit. Never push all the coils at once. You always want to do them bit by bit to keep it an even distribution of pressure. So we're making room for the balance of the cord, and we spin that on. And when we get to the very end here, once this has just rounded this inner run with the stopper knot, you stick it through the hole. And you pull it through. It's okay for it to stick out a couple of millimeters. You now push against it, and that locks it in. And you push all the coils back down against it from the other end. Remember, bit by bit, never all at once. If your bracelet is bumpy, you can roll it to make it more even, and we're done. To put the bracelet on, I typically make the attachment hole a little bit larger just to get this on my hand a little more easily. I usually put the knot side upward, put my wrist down against the table to give me some stability and keep the bracelet from rolling around. You could use your knee if you're outdoors. Stick the loop over the tail, stick the loop around the head, and if you're having trouble with this part, there are some tricks. Hopefully you can just do it without any tricks, but let's show you some tricks. You stick the tail through the hole, you then grab it with your finger to immobilize it, and that gives you some flexibility to wrap that loop around it. Another possibility is to get thread the tail through the hole, and now hold this with your teeth. Hold this up to your mouth, hold this with your teeth, and with your free hand push the loop around the head of the knot. So there are a few tricks to getting that on. Then you stick the tail into the remaining gap, and now you tighten the coils downward against that hole to make it a little more constricted. You'll do it evenly, bit by bit, over the full length of the bracelet, and that's how you put the bracelet on. When you're ready to use the cordage for some task, you pull the quick release, which was that tail, and you can either pull it with your hand or, again, with your teeth. If you're washing your hands or your hands are covered with dirt, you don't want to get the bracelet dirty or covered with soap, you hold that up to your mouth, pull this with your teeth, and you can release the bracelet. Or I'm going to show you just using my hand. There should be some resistance so the hole doesn't the knot doesn't fall through the hole by itself, but when I pull enough, it pulls out. So it takes about 1 second to release it, and it takes about 5 seconds to deploy the main cordage. You pull the knot twice the length of the bracelet. You'll feel it change down here when you get to the very end. I just felt it change. I now stick my finger up top here through the top, and now you pull the balance. You get that great whack, whack, whack noise if you hold it against a flat, hard surface. And that's how you deploy all the cordage. The Ashley stopper knot comes undone quite easily. You just pull through that initial part and then pull it, and it's all done.